Welcome everybody to this edition of Attention Talk Video. I'm your host, ADHD and Attention Coach Jeff Copper, and I'm here today to talk to you about ADHD and organization. Coaching is really cool. You learn so much. Really, I learned more from everybody that I coach than I ever have in my knowledge banks or my brain or my own personal experience. And this is early in the aha moment for me on this. Through another story that I don't have time to tell you, it's becoming interesting to me as I work with those with ADHD. When it comes to organization, they tend to, some of them, be very rigid. They've got to have everything scripted. And that's fine, but I'm starting to find more and more of those with ADHD, it's really about improv. Let's think about that. Improv. Now I'll tell my own personal story is, as a result of doing interviews on Attention Talk Video and Attention Talk Radio, more and more I'm getting asked to speak. And those PowerPoints that you put up that you're not supposed to read and having this up, I find that, if it's detailed, like I do a lot of presentations on impact of exercise in sports, and some of the biological things that are kind of going on to the brain is something I've actually got to read. It's hard for me to not read them on a PowerPoint. It's just an awkward part of that presentation, and I've been trying to get around it. But I've actually found that the rest of my presentation and really everything else I do is there's a picture or a prompt on a PowerPoint, and it's a trigger, and I improv. I tell a story, and that's basically how I give my presentations. And I have to tell you, it is the way I present. It just is. I do lots of interviews on Attention Talk Radio. The guests come on and I tell them, I'm going to tell you the first question, and after that, it's just a conversation. These videos that I do, often I'll get aggressive. We'll have a 2-minute conversation and we just let the tape roll. And I'm sharing that with you because more and more I'm finding those with ADHD are very much like that. When they walk in a room, it's better if the other person starts to talk first, and then they improv and they kind of build on that conversation. And it really sometimes makes some sense if you think about it, because ADHD is a struggle of the prefrontal cortex, which is all about planning and sequencing and putting things together. And to be able to do that in advance and predict is very hard and very effortful. Whereas if you can just show up and improv and react, it's so much less labor intensive and so much easier. And so the whole purpose of this video for you out there is, if you can really identify with what I'm talking about, you can change how you pay attention to things and begin to structure things on purpose for you to improv. Again, just like my presentations, I do a lot of presentations on ADHD and boredom, and I actually put like a picture up of a board, like a 2x saying I'm bored, and what that does, that prompts me to tell the story of how I got interested in ADHD and boredom. Or there's my little aha Bob eating cake, and I'll begin to talk about how when you're bored you do these other types of behaviors. But again, they're just prompts for me to improv about stories. One of the keys about this is that if you have ADHD and you're improv, it's difficult to improv anything if you're new to the subject. But if you've had a lot of experience and you're talking with personal experience, I find that it makes it very simple. And so I hope that this is speaking to you a little bit. If you're in a business or in an area that you really know a lot about, begin to think about how you can design stuff so that you can improv it and work your way through that. And if you're the type of person that's too hard for you to organize that PowerPoint, begin to think in terms of different, and play around with this a little bit, and shoot us an email at attention@attentiontalkradio.com on your thoughts on this, because I'm still exploring. I find it really fascinating. As an aside, I like coaching a lot better because the client brings the agenda and I actually have to improv when they come. I don't really have to prepare for anything other than be clear in my mind. Whereas like consulting and teaching requires more of an agenda, and I find that a little bit more challenging. So anyway, we hope that you found this very insightful. To learn more about Attention Talk Video or to subscribe to our YouTube channel, which you haven't, we encourage you to do, go to attentiontalkradio.com. And with that, we hope you've found some value, gotten an aha or some insight from our video here. Take care.